Assalamu alaikum viewers. Welcome to Virtual University. Last time we talked about primary and secondary memory. In today's lesson, you are going to read about types of memory to be found in a computer. We will follow the usual pattern of reading, followed by comprehension exercises, scanning for information, vocabulary exercise, and content review exercises. This will be followed by exercises on how language functions operate in English. Now I will read the text for types of memory. As mentioned previously, one of the most important characteristics of a computer is its capability of storing information in its memory long enough to process it. Not all computers have the same type of memory. In this section, 3 types of memory will be discussed: core memory, semiconductor memory or chip, and bubble memory. The memory of the first computers was made up of a kind of grid of fine vertical and horizontal wires. At each intersection where the wires crossed, there was a small ferrite ring called a core. Hence you have the name core memory, which was capable of being either magnetized or demagnetized. Every intersection had its unique address. Consequently, when an electric current was passed through the wires, the magnetized as well as the unmagnetized cores were identified by their respective addresses. Each core represented a binary digit of either 0 or 1, depending on its state. Early computers had a capacity of around 80,000 bits, whereas now it is not surprising to hear about computers with a memory capacity of millions of bits. This has been made possible by the advent of transistors and by the advances in the manufacture of miniaturized circuitry. As a result, mainframes have been reduced in both size and cost. Throughout the 1950s, 1960s, and up to the mid-1970s, core memory dominated the market. In the 1970s, there was a further development which revolutionized the computer field. This was the ability to etch thousands of integrated circuits onto a tiny piece, that is, the chip, onto a tiny piece of silicon, which is a non-metallic element with semiconductor characteristics. Chips have thousands of identical circuits, each one capable of storing 1 bit. Because of the very small size of the chip and consequently of the circuits etched on it, faster. Moreover, the size of the components containing the circuitry can be considerably reduced, a step which has led to the introduction of both minis and micros. As a result, computers have become smaller, faster, and cheaper. There is one problem with semiconductor memory, however. When power is removed, information in the memory is lost, unlike core memory, which is capable of retaining information during a power failure. Another development in the field of computer memories is bubble memory. The concept consists of creating a thin film of metallic alloys over the memory board. When this film is magnetized, it produces magnetic bubbles, the presence or absence of which represents one bit of information. These bubbles are extremely tiny, about 0.1 micrometer in diameter. Therefore, a magnetic bubble memory can store information at a greater density than existing memories, which make it suitable for micros. Bubble memories are not expensive, consume little power, are small in size, and are highly reliable. There is probably a lot more to learn about them, and research in this field continues. Now, you've read the paragraph, the passage, and we will do one exercise, comprehension exercise, in which you will look at 3 statements and decide which one does not express the main idea of the text, or in another way, which one of these 3 statements expresses the main idea of the text. Statement number 1. Core memory was the first type of computer memory to be developed. Right? Number 2. There are at least 3 different kinds of memory used in computers. Bubble memory is the latest development in computer memory. Now, out of these 3 statements, which one expresses the main idea of the text? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? I'm sure you've guessed the correct answer, and that is number 2. Number 1 and 3 are not the main idea of the text. Number 2 expresses the main idea, which is that there are 3 different kinds of memory. 1 and 3 are not main ideas. Both are details of the historical development of memory, and they do not show the different types of memory there are. Exercise number 2, which is understanding the passage. You will have a number of statements, and you have to decide whether these statements are true or false. And you refer to the information that is given in the text. You will decide by referring to the information in the text. After that, you make changes in the false statements, the statements that you think are false. You make the necessary changes so that these false statements become true. Statement number 1. The most important function of a computer is to hold information in its memory in order to process it. It's a true statement. Number 2. Mini computers, microcomputers, and mainframes all have the same kind of memory. This statement is true. Number 3. Semiconductor memory was developed before core memory and after bubble memory. It's a false statement. Now, can you correct this and make it a true statement? You can do it by making these changes. Semiconductor chip memory developed after core memory. Semiconductor of chip memory developed after core memory and before bubble memory. You have to add the words of chip or semiconductor or chip memory developed after core memory and before bubble memory. You have to change before and after their positions in the statement. Statement number 4. Core memory uses small metal rings which can be magnetized or unmagnetized. It is a true statement. Statement number 5. The state of the core can be represented by either 0 or 1. It's a true statement. Number 6. Early computer memories had less storage capacity than newer ones. It's a true statement. Number 7. A transistor and a chip are the same kind of device. It's false. And to make this true, you change the word transistor. A chip is a piece of silicon used in transistors and computers. A chip is a piece of silicon used in transistors and computers. Number 8, the development of chips made it possible for mini computers and microcomputers to be invented. It's a true statement. Number 9. Bubble memory is smaller than a chip. Statement is true. And the last statement, bubble memory doesn't have very many advantages. It's a false statement. Now you can make this statement true by making the following changes. Bubble memories are not expensive, consume little power, are small in size, and highly reliable. The false statement was that bubble memory doesn't have very many advantages, which is wrong. And you can make it true by giving all the facts about bubble memory, which is that bubble memories are not expensive, consume little power, are small in size, and highly reliable. And more research is required in this field. Exercise 3. This is a scanning exercise where you scan the text and find the relevant ideas. Now, wherein is this idea given? First, there is a core memory. And if you look carefully, you will find that it's given in paragraph 1. Number 2. Further to this development, chips evolved. Further to this development, chips evolved. Where will you locate this? Go through the text. It is to be found in paragraph 3. There are 3 types of memory board. Statement number 3, locate this information. Wherein the passage is this stated. There are 3 types of memory board. And you will find that it is given there in the very first paragraph. Number 4. This consists of producing a thin film over a memory board. This consists of producing a thin film over a memory board. And this information is to be found in paragraph 4. The 5th statement, then semiconductor memory was developed. Then semiconductor memory was developed. If you skim through the text, you will find that it is in paragraph 3. You find this idea in paragraph 3. Statement number 6. There is still a lot to learn about this process. There is still a lot to learn about this process. Quickly go over the paragraphs. Is it paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, or paragraph 4? And you will find that it is there in paragraph 4. Statement number 7. This is made up of thin wires and rings. This is made up of thin wires and rings. And this information is to be found in paragraph 2. Statement number 8. Finally, bubble memory was invented. Finally, bubble memory was invented. And you find this information in paragraph 4. Now, that was exercise 3. Now we will do one exercise on contextual reference. You look back at the text and find out what the words given in bold refer to. And as usual, you will notice that these words are all small words. Number 1, long enough to process it. And you will find this in paragraph 1. Now, what does it? In paragraph 1, in this line, long enough to process it. What does it refer to? If you look back at the text, you will find that it refers to information. Number 2, look in paragraph 2 and find this phrase, where the wires crossed. Where the wires crossed. And what does the word where refer to? You will find that it refers back to the word intersection. The intersection where the wires crossed. Where refers to the word intersection. Number 3, which was capable of being. Look in paragraph 2, find this phrase, which was capable of being. And the highlighted word is which. What does which refer to? Which, you will find, refers to core. Number 4, by their respective addresses. If you look in paragraph 2, you'll find this phrase, by their respective addresses. And what does their, T-H-E-I-R, what does their refer to? It refers to the word cores. Cores with an S, plural. And number 5, look again in paragraph 2 and locate this information. This has been made possible. This phrase, this has been made possible. What does this refer to? And you will find that this refers to the memory capacity of millions of bits. Memory capacity. This refers to memory capacity of millions of bits. Now, statement number 6. Look in paragraph 3. When I tell you paragraph 3, that makes the whole thing very easy. Just scan through paragraph 3 and locate this statement. Which revolutionized the computer field? Which revolutionized the computer field? Now the word which, what does it refer to? It refers to the word development. It was the development which revolutionized the computer field. Number 7. Look in paragraph 3 for this phrase. Each one capable of storing 1 bit. Each one capable of storing 1 bit. Now, what does each one refer to? Each one refers to the word chips. Statement number 8. Look again in paragraph 3. We are still looking at paragraph 3 and locate this statement. Of the circuits etched on it. Of the circuits etched on it. What does the word it refer to? It refers to the word chip. Chip in the singular. In the last one it was chips in the plural. Here it is chip. Number 9. It produces magnetic bubbles. It produces magnetic bubbles. And look in paragraph 4. This phrase, it produces magnetic bubbles. And it is the word referring, it refers to the word film. It's the film that produces magnetic bubbles. And the last statement, look again in paragraph 4 and find this statement. Of which represents 1 bit. Of which represents 1 bit. And of which refers to bubbles. Now, we'll exercise 5. And this is a vocabulary exercise. First you have to look for synonyms and then you will look for antonyms. Synonyms, words that are similar same in meaning. Now, go back to the text again and you look for, in the first paragraph, there is a word which means the same as said. Is there a word over there which is the same as the word said? The word is mentioned. Mentioned and said are more or less the same in meaning. He said something, or so and so mentioned this to me. So they carry the same meaning. In paragraph 2, look for a word which is similar to the word own. O-W-N, own. The word is respective. In paragraph 2, there is this word respective. It is the same as own in this context. Again, look at paragraph 2 and find a word which has the same meaning as progress. The same meaning as the word progress. There is a word, and the word is advances. Advances and progress have the same meaning. And number 4, move on to paragraph 3 and look for a word which carries the same meaning as the word keeping. Keeping. In paragraph 3, there is this word retaining. And retaining and keeping can be used for one another. They are the same in meaning. When you retain something, you keep it with, right? And move on to paragraph 4 and find a word which you can substitute for the word appropriate. There is a word there in paragraph 4 which you can use for the word appropriate, the same in meaning, and the word is suitable. Now those 5 were synonyms. Let us now look at 5 more words which are antonyms, that is, words that are opposite in meaning. Look in paragraph 2. In paragraph 2, I want you to look for the correlative neither nor. Is there any word, are there correlatives that are the opposite in meaning to neither nor? I've made it very easy. It is either or. Again, in paragraph 2, look for a word that is the opposite in meaning to the word bypassed. Bypass. When you bypass something, you avoid it and you make a detour. You go around it. So what would be the opposite of bypass? And the words are passed through. It's there in paragraph 2. Again, still at paragraph 2, look for a word which is opposite in meaning to the word increased. And the word is reduced. The opposite of increased is reduced. Move on to paragraph 4 and look for a word which is the opposite of this phrase, not producing. The opposite of not producing would be, when you don't produce anything, you are not creating. And the word is creating. The opposite of not producing is creating. Now move on to paragraph 4 and look for a word that is the opposite of the phrase don't use up. Don't use up. When you use up something, what do? The opposite would be consume. When you don't use up, you just let things be as they are. So the opposite of consume is don't use up. Now we'll do another exercise, this time again on vocabulary, and you have to select the appropriate form of the word. Different forms of the word, of a word, are given you, and you have to choose the appropriate one for that sentence. You can check the differences, the difference of meaning in your dictionary. Take the first one, and you've got the word alter, and you've got its 2 other forms. The word alter, its form altered with the ed ending, which at once tells you that it is in the past tense. And you've got the word alteration, which is a noun. Statement, the first one, 3 sentences. When a program doesn't work properly, it is often necessary to make what? You choose from the 3 words given which word would be suitable. And the suitable word is alterations. It is often necessary to make alterations to it. B. The omission of data from a program can dash its results drastically. I use the word dash to mean gap. You have to fill in the gap with the correct word. And the correct word for this statement is alter. The omission of data from a program can alter its results drastically. Alter meaning change. And the last one, very simple. We've already filled two gaps. So what word is left? There is only one word left, and that is altered. The use of the computer in business has altered the workload of many people. Has altered. Number 3. The third group of words are reduce, reduced, reduction. And you know, they all mean to lessen, to lower. The introduction of the computer in the workplace has dash the workload of many people. Which word is suitable? And it is the word reduced. Reduced, has reduced. Here it is used as a verb. Has reduced. B. There will probably be a greater in the consumption of oil in the next decade due to the use of computer technology. The word is reduction. Right? And the fourth group of words is from the word create. Create, creation, created, creative. A programmer usually has dash as well as a logical mind. A programmer usually has a creative as well as a logical mind. Creative meaning someone who creates, who produces new things. All right. B. It takes a lot of inspiration and hard work to come up with a new dash in computer technology. A new, it has to be creation, a new creation. Noun, the word new is adjective, telling you something more about the word, the noun creation. It takes a lot of inspiration and hard work to come up with a new creation in computer technology. And the last one, computers have certainly dash few opportunities for fraud. Computers have certainly created few opportunities for fraud. You've read the text, types of memory. Now, there is a table. You complete this table by using the information that you read in types of memory, in the text types of memory. And notice that the table has 5 columns. They are column number 1, type, number 2, develop, developed meaning period, time period. In which time period was it developed? Number 3, the third column is size. And fourth column is composition. And the fifth one is memory capacity. And you will notice that in this table, some of the columns have been filled. You have to, using your knowledge of the text, fill in the gaps. In the first one, for size you have large. And then for memory capacity, it says 80,000 bits. And if you look down in number 2, it gives you the composition. You have to fill in the missing information. For number 1, what could it be? What type? What type? He's talking about memory capacity. So what type was it? The first type of memory was the core, and it was developed in the 1950s. We already know that the size was large. What was its composition? Composition was, it was a grid of vertical and horizontal wires with small ferrite rings at intersection. In the same way, fill in the second. In the second one, you've been given the composition, but you haven't been told what type, the size, or its memory capacity. Now, which type was the integrated circuits on non-metallic elements? Remember, it was the chip. So, in the first column under type, you will write the word chip. And when was the chip developed? This happened in the early 1970s. What was its size? You've already got the word large in the first one. And the chip, we know, was tiny. You will write the word tiny under size. And its memory capacity? Millions. So for number 2, you will write the words chip for type, early 1970s for develop, when it was developed, and for size you will write tiny, and for memory capacity you will write the word millions. And in the third last one, all 5 are left blanks for you. So we've already got core memory, we've got chip one, and we've got the last one to fill in. So it has to be number 3, bubble. And the bubble was developed in the late 1970s. The chip was early 1970s, the bubble was late 1970s. And its size, extremely tiny. Extremely tiny. What about its composition? It has a thin film over metallic alloys. A thin film over metallic alloys. And what about its memory capacity? It is greater than any existing. Now, again a table is given you, and this is a table in which the whole passage that you read, it's a revision. We revise. And you notice, for your convenience, the paragraphs are already given you. You have to fill in the time sequence marker. This is again an exercise in which you just fill in a word which shows the time sequence. And the information is already given you. So you've got 2 columns the time sequence marker, you have to write down the time sequence marker. You have to write down the word which tells you what time a certain thing took place. Number one, you have the word under time sequence marker, you have the words the, and there's a gap, and the word computer. And the information is had memories of a kind of grid of fine vertical and horizontal wires. You are already given the words the computer. It has to be the word the first computer. The time marker is the word first. And this information you can locate in paragraph 2. Again, looking at the same paragraph, you've been given some information, and the information is had a capacity of around 80,000 bits. So what had a capacity of around 80,000 bits? You've been given one hint, and the word is computers. So which type of computer, which kind? You have to fill in the word early computers. Right? Now look at the next one. The information is, it is not surprising to hear about computers with a memory capacity of millions of bits. And you've been given a hint, whereas. The word is now, whereas now. And in the next one, again the information is given you, core memory dominated the market. And you have to fill in the time sequence marker, which would be throughout the 1950s, 60s, and up to the mid-70s. In the last one, move on to paragraph 3. The information given you is there was further development which revolutionized. What is the time period? You have to fill in that column with the phrase in the 1970s. Look at a few sentences in the next exercise. If you go back to the text, you just have to fill in with words. And these are words that add information. They show that you are adding information. The first one, in the 1970s, there was a, what word would you use there to show that you are adding information? And the word is further. In the 1970s, there was a further development which revolutionized the computer field. The second one, the size of the components containing the circuitry can be considerably reduced. What other word is there to show that you are adding information? And the word is moreover. And in the last one, the word, you can add the word another. So, this was an exercise to show you that there are words to add on information. And with that, we come to the end of today's lesson. Allah Hafiz, see you next time.